This is Voices in the Stone. It's night. Smoke drifts across a valley that doesn't yet know it will one day be holy ground. Above it, a castle burns. Men shout in Norman French. Horses scream. Stone collapses into itself. And somewhere behind those walls, a lord named Gervase Paganell understands, too late, that power does not forgive. It remembers. It keeps accounts. And it collects its debts in stone and blood. In 1173, England fractured. King Henry II, builder of an empire stretching from Scotland to the Pyrenees, faced rebellion from the people closest to him, his sons, Henry the young king, Richard, Geoffrey. They believed their father had stolen their inheritance while he still lived. Barons across England watched closely. Some remained loyal, others sensed opportunity. To choose rebellion was to gamble everything: land, title, family, memory. But to choose loyalty carried its own danger, because kings remembered neutrality too. Gervase chose rebellion, not out of romance, not out of heroism, but calculation. If the sons won, he would rise. If they lost, he would fall alone. Henry II crushed the rebellion. Slowly, deliberately, publicly. Castles were not merely captured, they were slighted. Soldiers dismantled towers stone by stone. Walls were collapsed inward, gatehouses reduced to rubble. It was punishment made architectural, a message carved into the landscape. This family has failed. Dudley Castle was allowed to stand, but broken, its scars visible for generations. Villagers lost protection, soldiers lost wages, trade slowed, and every traveler could see the mark of royal displeasure. Gervase survived, but survival is not safety. Defeat in medieval England did not end when the swords were sheathed. It lingered, in royal ledgers, in whispered warnings, in the memories of men who wrote history with ink and gall. Former rebels slept lightly. They trusted stone walls less, and prayer more. Men like Gervase began to fear something deeper than execution. They feared erasure, that their name would be spoken only as a caution, that their children would inherit shame, that their soul would wander unremembered. And so Gervase turned toward the church, not in surrender, but in strategy. The medieval church was not only a religion, it was an economy of salvation. Men believed the soul passed through purgatory, a place of suffering that could last centuries. But prayers shortened the sentence. Masses weakened the fire. Names, spoken aloud, chipped away at eternity. Nobles funded monasteries the way modern families fund foundations. To be remembered was to be saved. To be forgotten was a second death. Gervase did not seek holiness. He sought continuity, insurance against oblivion. He did not choose just any monks. He chose the Cluniacs, a reform movement born in Burgundy, men who prayed more than they worked, who sang through the night, who believed repetition itself bent heaven closer to earth. Their monasteries were famous across Europe, their discipline legendary, their loyalty institutional. To fund Cluniacs was to purchase something rare: daily remembrance. Not for a year, not for a generation, but forever. For a man whose castle could be broken, that sounded like safety. Gervase did not build a great abbey. He founded a small priory, subordinate, quiet, overlooked. Abbeys drew kings. Priories avoided them. Small houses survived where large ones attracted attention. It was a political design as much as a religious one. The valley below Dudley, wet, awkward, unwanted, was perfect. No rival lord wanted it, no knight could farm it. Only monks would accept it, and only monks would remember him there. Gervase gave them land, the useless land, the wet land, the valley of streams and reeds. He granted them rights to quarry stone, to harvest timber, to divert water, to build ponds. He gave churches, income, legal protection, and in return, they promised something invisible. Prayer, every day, long after he was dust. Not loudly, not publicly, but endlessly. A machine of memory, powered by voices. 3 monks arrived, Osbert, Robert, Hugh. They slept in timber huts. They ate thin broth. They worked in freezing water. Winter came early. Stone ran out. Wood split poorly. One fell sick. They nearly failed. Villagers whispered that God had rejected the place. But they stayed. They cut more stone. They raised rough walls. They sang before dawn. Slowly, the priory emerged. Gervase never lived in the valley, never heard the bells, never joined their prayers. He died elsewhere, buried in ground already crowded with men like him. But his decision outlived him. Water was shaped, stone was set. Voices began rising into the dark, beneath the broken castle. A new rhythm took hold. Gervase Paganell wanted forgiveness. He wanted safety. He wanted to outlive his mistake. He built that hope in stone. But buildings do not stay empty. Soon the priory would become something else, a place of strict routine, of discipline, of silence before dawn. A world governed not by swords, but by bells. In the next chapter, we step inside those lives. We follow the men who rose when the world was still asleep and gave their days to prayer. This is Voices in the Stone, and this was the Rebel Lord.